Every single person has been locked inside the Iron Tower, 25 hours of torture every single day. Die, and you get dragged back to do it all over again. But I refuse to play along. I turn this hell into my personal training ground. Everyone calls me insane. But my plan? Save all of humanity. Alive. I'm finally alive. My eyes snap open. I gasp for air. My name is Evan Chen. 1 second ago I was obliterated by a heavenly tribulation at the nascent soul stage. Now I'm in a dark, wretched room, and a skeletal man is staring at me with wild, burning eyes. You're awake. I'm the one who revived you. Do you remember your name? I ignore him. My instincts tell me to fight back, but there's nothing inside me. My nascent soul cultivation completely gone. I'm nothing but an ordinary human now. Why aren't you talking? He shifts to irritation when I stay silent. I'm asking you, what's your name? Where are you from? I need to verify your identity and log you in. No login, no food or water. He's fishing for information. I study him, mind running fast. This is not a normal place, and this man is not a good person. I give a cold laugh. My head hurts. Get me some water first, we'll talk after. The man panics completely, as if terrified of something invisible. He screams at me. Why won't you just cooperate? Is that so hard? Then, several thick mechanical arms slam down from the ceiling and pin him to the floor. I'm sorry. Don't electrocute me, please. Zap. Blue light explodes through the room. I press myself into the corner, watching helplessly as the man gets torn apart by high voltage electricity. A few seconds of silence. The smell of burning flesh fills the air. He is charcoal. Gone. Then, a cold mechanical voice fills the room. Reviving. Dex. Born August 1st, 2035. Southeast Asia. My pupils shrink. What does that mean? A strange geometric pattern on the floor begins to glow. A body assembles itself from nothing. The man who was just burned to ash, Dex, stands before me completely unharmed. Zero cost revival. Before I can process the shock, Dex rolls his neck and grins at me. See that? The rules say if I can't get your identity out of you, the system will permanently deal with me. He fixes his eyes on me. Now it's your turn. I glance at the ceiling, and instantly the mechanical arms shoot out. No reaction time at all. They pin me flat against the wall. Dex strolls to a hidden panel and pulls out a tool. Nothing personal. Everyone in the tower goes through this. He heats the tool until it glows red and moves toward me. In a minute, I'm going to hurt you. Don't try to endure it. Just give me names. Parents, relatives, friends, all of them. Understood? Something buzzes in my mind, and suddenly everything clicks. They want to torture names out of me, dig out everyone I know, then revive them into the same hell to suffer. I stare at him. That's right. Dex watches my face, hungry for despair. This place exists for one reason. Pain, fire, electricity. Every day without stopping. Die, get revived, suffer again. It never ends. And just so you know, there's no food or water here. So not only will you be tortured, you'll die of thirst too. Then get revived and do it all over. He lifts the glowing tool with excitement and presses it against my chest without hesitation. The burn is instant. The smell of scorched flesh hits my brain. Well, Dex breathes hard and leans close. Ready to talk now? But I don't even flinch. I just look at him. Cold, steady, the way you'd look at a pile of garbage. Yes, my cultivation is gone, but the soul I forged over hundreds of years as a nascent soul cultivator is still here. Block all 5 senses, cut off pain. For me, that's as natural as breathing. Physical torture? Meaningless. You don't feel pain? The frenzy on Dex's face freezes. His eyes look ready to pop out. He shoves his face close to mine and finds I haven't broken a single sweat. The corner of my mouth curls into something contemptuous. I don't say a word, but the pressure I radiate in that moment shatters Dex's defenses completely. Thud. His knees buckle and he drops to the floor. He's shaking. All his arrogance has vanished. He slams his forehead against the ground again and again. Teach me. Please, I'm begging you. Teach me how to block pain. Whatever you want, I'll do it. Anything. The pain threshold becomes a pleasure trigger. I look down at this pathetic creature. You want to learn? I say coldly. Because someone's going to do this to you eventually too, aren't they? Yes, yes, yes. Dex nods frantically. The torture in the tower rotates. Right now I torture you. In 20 or 30 years someone else will torture me. It never stops. They say the longest held prisoner has been here for over 2,000 years. 2,000 years. No way out, no madness to escape into. Always fully conscious. Always enduring. Being alive is more terrifying than ceasing to exist. No wonder my pain blocking ability made him submit in an instant. I press my advantage. If you need a name to revive someone, and you didn't even know my name, how did you wake me up? Brute force. The brute force revival method. Dex doesn't dare hide anything. As long as you feed the array enough conditions, it can revive someone. For example, I set the surname Chen, born in a specific year, month, and minute. If only one person named Chen was born in that exact minute, the conditions are met, and the array pulls them through. Doesn't work? I switch surnames. I go through every surname, one by one. Given enough time, this array can dig up every human being who ever lived. Just then, the electronic screen on the wall flashes to life. A sharp red number, 53%. Dex jolts to his feet, eyes wide with fear. I can't keep talking. He grabs his tool and starts hurting me again like a man possessed. With each blow, the number on the screen ticks up to 54%. You see that? Dex screams, eyes red. Every time I hurt you, the meter goes up. My job is to keep it above 50% at all times. If it drops, the mechanical arms will permanently deal with me. He heaves for breath, gripping his tool. To stay on target, I torture you 15 hours a day. You get permanently dealt with once a day. And since there's no food or water, I end myself every 2 days to reset my body. 3 years. For 3 full years, I'm tortured here like a caged animal, killed and revived over and over by that cursed array. This place is completely sealed. Not even a fly gets in. The so-called tower is nothing but an airtight prison. I search every inch of it for a weakness, but there is none. 90%. Good enough. In the room, Dex collapses on the floor like a dead dog, staring at me with exhaustion and envy. That immunity to pain of yours is something else. I beat you half to death, and you don't make a single sound. He rolls over to find a comfortable position. I'm done. I need to sleep. Same deal. Wake me when it hits 50. Sleep tight, I say flatly. 3 hours later, this battered, broken body of mine finally gives out. My vision goes dark. Then the familiar electronic voice, reviving, surname Chen. The geometric pattern on the floor glows. I'm rebuilt. The moment my eyes open, I don't even glance at Dex snoring in the corner. I stare straight up at the ceiling. Based on 3 years of trial and death, I know the pattern. After revival, the mechanical arms come for me, but there's a 90-second window. Right now. Without hesitation, I drive my fingers into the pressure points across my body. Blood ignition. A secret technique I seized from the cultivation world. Burn everything. Every last drop of life energy. In exchange for one single explosive burst. Boom. Blinding golden mist erupts from every pore of my body. I'm just an ordinary human now. But in this one instant, the power born from burning my own life is nothing short of terrifying. I don't even look at the door. I become a blur of motion and drive my fist straight into to the alloy door that's been sealed shut for 3 years. Bang! A deafening crash. The thick alloy door shatters into pieces. At the same time, the recoil destroys my right arm, bones and tendons giving way with a sickening crack. I don't care. The crash jolts Dex awake. He stares at me, stunned. What are you doing? No time. I don't answer. I charge through the wreckage, golden light blazing off my body, but outside is a metal corridor that goes on forever. Rows of iron doors line both sides. Screaming fills the air from every direction. This hell is far bigger than I imagined. I'm barely 2 steps out when figures appear at both ends of the corridor, expressionless, with no visible breathing, not alive. These wardens raise metal spheres in unison. A heartbeat later, 100 red laser beams crisscross the air like a storm of light. At my current speed, I'd need at least foundation building stage to dodge this. But I'm only a burning human body. No suspense at all. I'm disintegrated by the beams. Reviving. Surname Chen. Light flashes. I'm whole again. Back in the room. The door I destroyed is already perfectly restored. Not a scratch on it. The tower's leadership doesn't even bother to show themselves. As if my escape attempt was nothing but a speck of dust they brushed away. I stare at that door. Chest heaving. No way out. No way through. In the corner, Dex stares at me like I'm something that shouldn't exist, and finally forces out a single sentence. How did you get out there? I take a deep breath, forcing my emotions down. Those guards aren't human. The weapons they carry don't belong to this era. Dex swallows. You even notice that. In the tower, prisoners call them the wardens. Don't waste your energy. He slumps against the wall, eyes full of hopelessness. I've been here at least 160 to 5 years. We prisoners have talked it over 1,000 times. Nobody has ever escaped. Not even a theoretical plan exists. And no one from outside has ever come to break us out. Break out to what? I say coldly. Dex shakes his head. This tower has been standing for over 2,000 years. We figure the outside world was probably destroyed by war long ago. Even if you escape, there might not be a single living person out there. It's just a dead end, an inferno deadlock. Infinite torture, reset without end, overwhelming force, and a world outside that may already be dead. I lean against the cold metal wall. The corner of my mouth twists into a cold smile. If brute force leads nowhere, then I'll glitch the system. I'm gonna put myself into a dormant state. I watch Dex with the calm of someone deciding what to eat. He blinks. How? My soul is far beyond ordinary. I skip the theory and go straight to the plan. I can erase my own consciousness and enter a soul dormant state. While I'm under, I won't feel anything from the outside world. Even if I'm here for decades, centuries, even 1,000 years, it will feel like nothing at all. I hold his gaze and give the order. If a riot breaks out in the tower, or if anyone from outside comes to rescue people, you must end me immediately. One death is all it takes. The tower resets my state and wakes me up. Do you understand? Wait for someone from outside. Dex laughs bitterly. I'd sooner pray for the earth to explode. That's just a figure of speech. If the chance ever comes, this is our only card. I give him something to hold on to. Help me watch the situation. When we get out, I'll teach you cultivation. The kind where you fly and disappear at will. Dex's eyes light up immediately. After everything he's witnessed, I've become something like a god to him. Deal. The moment anything changes, I'll end you first thing. No more words. I close my eyes and force open a technique only a god transformation cultivator should be able to use. Soul projection. Even as a reincarnated nascent soul cultivator, attempting this out of tier is extraordinarily dangerous. But here, it's exactly the weapon I need to escape endless suffering. My head tilts to one side. I go completely still. Dex nervously checks my breathing. Still alive. Not dead. The tower's revival system stays silent. He actually glitched the system. Dex stares at me, eyes wide. And so, this becomes my cheat code. Every day Dex tortures me to the point of death. I revive, stay awake 10 minutes, then project my soul again and go idle. Days blur into months. More than a decade passes. In this lightless iron box, time means nothing. Then one day, I open my eyes after revival and see a red countdown on the wall screen. A red countdown. 6 hours, 32 minutes, 17 seconds. I grab Dex by the collar, still snoring in the corner. Wake up, look at the screen. He blinks open his eyes, and the moment his eyes land on those numbers, his face drains to white. It's over. We're done. The time is up. The rotation cycle is ending. What does that mean? I frown. They're moving me to a different room. Someone else is going to torture me. Dex's voice shakes. You have no idea how twisted the people in this tower get. 160 years in and you're still somewhat normal. The ones who've been here 1,000 years, they're not human anymore. They're pure evil. He crashes to his knees before me, clutching my legs with total desperation. Can't you really teach me to block pain? Please, I'm begging you. I genuinely can't. I shake my head, not making excuses. An ordinary body cannot survive a nascent soul-level soul technique. Dex's eyes go completely dark. He melts into a heap on the floor, every breath soaked in despair. With the little time we have left, I ask the question that's been sitting in my mind. You went through all that trouble to brute force revive me. What were you after? Rewards. Dex answers in a hollow, empty voice. Revive a new arrival. And the tower gives you an extra year or two of grace period before your next rotation of torture. Sometimes they throw in a sip of water, a bite of food, or even someone to keep you company. I haven't had a single drop of water in decades. Can you imagine what that kind of thirst feels like? I say nothing. The countdown bleeds away. 30 minutes left. Dex finally breaks completely. He covers his face and sobs like an animal waiting for slaughter. I can't go. I don't want to go. 20 years. I'm going to be tortured for 20 straight years. Just let me end. I've dreamed of actually ending every night. I watch him quietly. This is what helplessness looks like under absolute power. 5 minutes left. Dex snaps his head up, face covered in tears, grabbing at me like a man reaching for a rope. You're not a normal person. You'll get out of here. I know you will, right? Maybe. I don't make promises I can't keep. Remember my name? Burn it into your head. He roars at me, terrified I'll forget a single syllable. My name is Dex. Born August 1st, 2035, 9:13 in the morning. If you ever get out, you have to revive me. I'll serve you for the rest of my lives. Your soldier, whatever you need. Do you hear me? I promise you. I hold his eyes. If I make it out, I'll come back for you. Then, the countdown hits 0. The temperature in the room spikes violently. The air turns into a furnace. No resistance is possible. Dex and I are incinerated. Reviving. Surname Chen. The cold mechanical voice sounds again. I open my eyes, gasping for breath. Same room, but Dex is gone. The screen lights up again. Surnames on the left, scrolling birth dates on the right. It's pushing me to keep playing that cruel game. Trade your kind for rewards. You want me to be your slave? In your dreams. I give a cold laugh and ignore the screen completely. I just sit there. Time passes. Eventually the system runs out of patience. It cuts the screen off with a snap. Then that haunting electronic voice echoes through the room. Reviving. Leo. Born March 13th, 1980. 900 hours, 0 minutes. China. Once. Twice. 10 times. 100. It begins its own brute force loop, forcing the sequence. A machine without fatigue, repeating the same same name and date. I watch in cold silence. A full month later, the geometric pattern on the floor erupts in blinding light. A shadow forms within it, twisting violently until it solidifies and crashes to the ground. My new cellmate Leo has arrived. Light flashes. Leo rebuilds his body, but the moment he hits the ground, he doesn't even glance at me. He bites his finger open without a second thought, drops to all fours, and writes numbers in golden blood like a man possessed. 39, 85, 54. He writes frantically, muttering under his breath. 55, 51, 52. I watch this bizarre ritual in silence until the wall screen displays 60%. Only then does Leo exhale and adds the final numbers, 22, 50. Then the ceiling's mechanical arms shoot out and pin him to the wall. What are those numbers for? I raise an eyebrow. Leo keeps his eyes locked on the golden numbers, still catching his breath. I was afraid you'd erase them. You haven't been in the tower long. Your mind still works. I leave it at that. The screen number begins dropping from 60%, heading steadily toward 50. By the tower's rules, I'm the designated torturer right now. If I don't hurt him, I get punished. Do something. Leo snaps when the meter gets close to the red line. If you don't hurt me, the mechanical arms are going to electrocute you into ash. I don't even look up, like I'm going to be their free labor in your dreams. I'd rather get reset. I can't feel pain anyway. Zap. Blinding blue arcs of electricity tear through my body. High voltage electricity rips through me. The smell of burning fills the room. Leo watches with wide eyes, expecting me to scream and beg, but I just lie there in the lightning, expression completely empty. Not a single muscle moves. Even as my body begins to dissolve, in that final moment the look I give him carries nothing but contempt, pure and absolute. Reviving, surname Chen. Light blazes. I'm back, completely whole, casually rolling my neck like nothing happened. Leo has gone completely pale. His voice shakes. You really can't feel pain? Less talking. I give a cold laugh and cut straight to it. What are those numbers on the floor actually for? Shattered by everything he's witnessed, Leo drops all pretense and tells me the truth. That's the precise timestamp of when we entered this rotation cycle. He swallows, holding my gaze. Year 6139, August 15th, 1422 and 50 seconds. Based on my calculations, the tower's rotation intervals are always whole numbers. With this exact starting point, I can calculate precisely when the next rotation will trigger. And once you know that, I say flatly, how does that help you escape? We exploit a loophole in the wardens. Leo's eyes burn with excitement. The wardens have no emotions. They follow programming, nothing else. If it isn't written in their rules, it doesn't exist to them. We could stand here right now and plan our escape out loud. They'd hear every word and do absolutely nothing. And so, time flies. A full year passes. During that year, I let the mechanical arms electrocute me into ash every single day, rather than touch Leo. I can block out pain, so sitting back and doing nothing beats being the tower's unpaid enforcer. But this careless choice completely destroys Leo's last line of defense. He becomes convinced I'm something extraordinary, someone who has spared him for a reason. Finally, he plays his real card. Have you ever heard of the space station? Leo drops his voice, barely containing his excitement. Out in orbit, there are survivors up there, people who actually escaped the tower. A space station? I lock onto the core of it immediately. End yourself and let them revive you up there. Exactly. Leo slaps his knee. It's less of a prison break and more like letting the station steal us away from the tower. He explains quickly. The station's machine is constantly running a revival sequence, working through every surname and birth date starting from 1900, reviving all of humanity in order. The moment the station calls your name, if you lose your vital signs at that exact second, the two arrays connect, and you get pulled straight up into orbit, completely out of this hell. I catch the flaw immediately. The odds are impossible. I laugh sharp and cold. Hundreds of billions of human beings across all of history. That's the same as winning a lottery jackpot. Right, 1 in several 100,000 odds. Leo holds my gaze, eyes threaded with red. Some people here have been in for 1,000 years and never hit a connection window once, but it's the only hope we have. We have to gamble. I stare at him. What's your real plan? Not luck. What are you actually doing? Math. A sharp edge crosses Leo's eyes. His words come fast. The station revives people in order. Starting from 1900, alphabetical by surname. The moment they reach my name in the sequence, I end myself at that exact second. I don't gamble. I guarantee my own exit. I lock into the system and get pulled up to the station. You're timing it? I frown. How do you know what second they reach your name? What do you think I was doing when I first landed here? Crawling around like a lunatic writing numbers on the floor. Leo's expression sharpens. Those are my absolute reference point. Year 6139, August 15th, 1422 and 50 seconds. He points at the wall screen. This meter drops 1% every 36 minutes. That's our clock. The station is required to revive 10 people per person per minute. Plug every variable in and I can calculate the exact time they reach any name in the sequence. I exhale slowly inside. I've spent 1,000 years in the cultivation world, crossed paths with masters of every kind, but in sheer calculating intelligence, this unremarkable looking man in front of me is an absolute monster. You're certain about your numbers? I ask. Leo doesn't reach for a single scrap of paper. He just speaks. Right now, it is year 60 to 140, September 17th, 13 hours, 0 minutes, 50 seconds. I'll be called on December 30, first of this year, at 1:01 in the morning. And you, Evan Chen, he fixes his eyes on me. February 15th of 41 at exactly 1 in the morning. Human operation has some margin of error, so we can't nail it to the second, but within that 1 minute window, keep resetting your vital signs and you will make it. Guaranteed. Impressive. I don't waste words. I hold up a thumb. That brain of yours, I respect it. Then, time skips forward. Year 60 to 140, December 31st, 0 hours, 01 minutes, 1 hour until Leo's escape. I pull a tool from the hidden panel and weigh it in my hand, ready to move at any moment. You memorize my formulas? Before leaving, Leo is drenched in sweat, words firing like a machine gun. When you get up there, keep your head down. The tower has people planted inside the station. They specifically target anyone who makes it out. Stay invisible. Thanks, and good luck. I tighten my grip on the tool. The moment the meter ticks from 59 to 58%, Leo starts counting aloud. 1, 2, 3, all the way to 1,109. Now, end me. He snaps his head up, eyes completely red. No hesitation. I hit him hard. Leo drops. Reviving. Leo, the mechanical voice sounds. Leo rebuilds inside the pattern. Missed. The timing was off. Again. Fast. He barely touches the ground before he's screaming at me. I strike again without breaking rhythm. Miss. He revives again. Again. This is a race against fate itself. I pour everything into the third strike. A few seconds later, reviving. Leo, born 1980. The voice starts again. But this time, when the light clears, the room is empty. Not a single person. And the electronic voice, it loops like a broken machine, repeating Leo's name for 2 full days, but never able to pull him back into the cell. He made it. This ordinary human being with nothing but his mind mind, tore an opening through a net designed to hold everyone forever. The following February 15th arrives. The wardens assign no new cellmate, no emotion, no acknowledgement. I just sit there, staring at the screen. 1:06 in the morning. It's time. I'm done playing this game. My eyes fill with something cold and savage. I strike myself as hard as I can, and at the same time, trigger blood ignition without hesitation, draining every last drop of life energy I have. I fall in a burst of golden light. Reviving Evan Chen. Light flashes. I'm whole again. Standing in the cell. First attempt, miss. Fury surges through me. Not even half a second wasted. I grab the tool and attack myself again. Second attempt, miss again. Again. I've completely lost myself. Third strike. And then, something shifts. That familiar sensation of the tower's array forcing a body back together disappears. In its place, a raw, brutal pulling force, seizing my soul and yanking it upward. I rip through the metal ceiling of my cell, my soul rising fast. As I shoot upward, I finally see the full shape of the hell that held me for over a decade. A black metal tower hundreds of floors tall, packed with hundreds of thousands of iron boxes, every one of them filled with living human beings being tortured. But that isn't the worst of it. When my soul bursts through the top of the tower and rises high enough to look down at the whole surface of the earth, the joy on my face freezes solid. A bone-deep chill moves through my soul. The surface of the earth is not a wasteland. It's covered, edge to edge, with towers. Identical black towers standing like an iron forest. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of them. This isn't a prison. This is an infinite hell holding hundreds of billions of human souls. Reviving Evan Chen, my eyes snap open. Before I can take in my surroundings, a savage roar tears through the air. I turn. A man who was just revived is thrashing on the ground like a wild animal. The tower broke him long ago. Several large men rush in and pin him down. At the same time, a woman in a white dress steps forward, voice perfectly soft. It's okay. Calm down. You're out of the tower. You're safe now. Somehow, under that disarmingly gentle voice, the man slowly stops struggling. The woman stands, turns, and looks at me. No matter what she's just seen, her professional smile doesn't crack. Hello. Welcome to Celestia Station. I'm Yara, the station psychologist. I lean against the metal wall, keeping my expression guarded. I say nothing. Yara clearly finds this routine and continues smoothly. First revival, I assume. Nothing to be afraid of. The current year is 6141. I assume was over 4,000 years ago. I wanted to test the room, so I dropped something heavy. Not my first revival. I just came out of the tower. The moment those words land, the entire room goes dead silent. Every man pinning down the patient turns to stare at me. Yara stops completely, her professional smile cracking for the first time. That's impossible. She looks me over like I shouldn't exist. You were in the tower? Then how are you this calm? Not a single sign of psychological collapse. Were you only in there for a few days? I give a cold laugh. Just under 20 years, I think. Is that long? The room fills with sharp, involuntary gasps. Yara stares at me, the shock on her face bleeding into something she can't quite control, something that looks almost like hunger. 20 years, an entire rotation cycle, and you're completely functional. She takes a breath and suddenly speeds up. I've been station psychologist for 2 years. 9 out of 10 people we pull from the tower go straight to the psychiatric ward. What you're showing right now is not a human level of resilience. She immediately starts tapping her wrist device. Station regulations give the highest priority status to someone with your profile. I'm scoring you S tier right now. Any objections? Good work, it's good assignments, no objections. Name? Evan Chen. No hesitation. As she explained it, the revival array binds to soul identity. Real name, false name. It makes no difference. Evan Chen. Any previous skills? Yara keeps her eyes on me. This determines your assignment. My mind runs fast. In my past life, I was a dominant force in the cultivation world. Nascent soul stage. Seizing power from heaven and earth was my specialty. But telling these ordinary people about cultivation? That's absurd. Some knowledge of medicinal plant cultivation? The closest real-world equivalent I can give. Agriculture. That's skilled work on the station. It can go badly. Yara frowns slightly, but logs me in without argument. Half an hour later, I'm brought to the so-called residential zone. An endless metal honeycomb stretches in every direction. My assigned space is a 4 square meter capsule pod. Below it, a completely open public area with zero privacy. In this place, reproduction has been prohibited for a long time. Everyone lives indefinitely. Nobody has the energy for anything beyond survival. Survival is the only instinct left. Fingerprint scan complete. Yara stands at my pod door. Completely serious now. Listen carefully. Everything on this station runs on credits. Food, water, showers, all of it costs credits. And that's not all. She points at the ventilation grate above us. You breathe. You consume oxygen. You exist. You produce waste gas. As long as you're alive, the system is automatically deducting credits. I file that away without expression. These people have optimized everything down to the last detail. You pay to breathe. What happens when the credits run out? I ask coldly. Severe penalty. Vital signs terminated. Return to the tower. Her voice carries no warmth. If you want to be revived from there again, you'll be waiting centuries for a connection window. Then she lowers her voice and leans slightly closer. But if you work hard, accumulate hundreds of thousands of credits, and if you do lose your vital signs, the station will spend those credits to call your name around the clock until they pull you back. I understand instantly. Credits equal life. No wonder everyone here works so hard. Thanks for the information, I say, keeping my voice carefully neutral. Yara glances at the sharp line of my profile and gives a quiet laugh. Something shifts in her expression. I like how direct you are. If you get bored tonight, you can always reach out. I already added you on the terminal. She turns and walks away. I watch her go. Internally, I feel nothing. Not even mild interest. In my past life in the cultivation world, cultivators who wanted a pill from me would throw themselves at my feet. There was a line stretching into the sky. This level of distraction is beneath my attention. There is only one thing in my mind right now. Power. I shut the pod door with a firm click and close my eyes, reaching out with my senses. Nothing. Not a trace of spiritual energy anywhere in this place. My eyes open. A dangerous light passes through them. Without spiritual energy, normal cultivation is pointless. To return to my peak, there are only 2 paths. First, find materials, find a refining furnace, force craft spiritual medicine. Second, a cold smile crosses my face. Take the dark cultivator's route, but this entire station is covered in surveillance. Any direct use of power would bring everything down on me at once. The next morning, I follow Yara to the lowest level of the station, the green sector. Rows of crops and algae cover every surface, producing oxygen and processing wastewater. To catch my attention, Yara has clearly dressed differently today. Knee-high socks, radiating youth. What were you even doing last night? She stops in front of me on the walkway, blocking my path, a little annoyed. I sent you so many messages and you didn't reply to a single one. Playing hard to get? Do you like what I'm wearing today? I don't even glance up. Voice like stone. Drop it. I'm going to be extremely busy. I don't have time or interest for this. I appreciate the thought. Please stop sending messages. Getting closer to someone would only slow me down. Yara swallows the blunt rejection, bites her lip, gives me one complicated look, and leads the way in silence. We reach the main terminal in the green sector common hall. New arrivals have to pass a knowledge assessment. Yara logs me in, cold-faced. Fail. And you go to basic labor on the bottom level. Start it, I say. The screen flickers. A heavily blurred black silhouette appears. Clearly a high-ranking station official. You're Evan Chen? Records say you know plants. The voice carries the flat coldness of a voice modulator. Somewhat. Good. The figure gets straight to it. The plant behind you. What is it called? I turn and scan it. In 1,000 years of cultivation, I've encountered more spiritual plants than these people have eaten meals. But common earth names are a different matter. I don't know its name. I say, looking directly at the screen. My voice carries a calm certainty that borders on arrogance, but I know what it does. It stabilizes core energy, saltpeter, mild taste, cool in nature, edible but the flavor is poor. Women with a cold constitution who eat too much of it can suffer serious consequences. Yara glances sideways at me, clearly expecting me to be making things up, but the blurred figure on screen goes completely still. Several silent minutes pass. When it speaks again, there's something unmistakably alive in the voice, barely contained excitement. You're familiar with hornwort? It grows in drainage ditches everywhere. Is it rare? I ask back. Excellent, excellent, excellent. 3 times. The plant to its left, the one with 7 leaves. What is that? No toe ginseng. I don't even look twice. Opposite properties from the first one. Warming, slightly sweet, promotes energy circulation. Mild bittersweet taste when you chew it. The figure slams a hand down on something. Evan Chen, you pass. Effective immediately. You are the department head of Green Sector 31. Any questions? Ask through the terminal. The connection cuts off. Just like that. Silence fills the hall. Yara stares at me like I'm something that shouldn't exist. Jaw dropping. That was incredible. Her cool front collapses instantly. She grabs my arm, unable to contain herself. You walked in on your first day and became a department head. Do you understand what that means? I work myself to exhaustion every day as a psychologist for 200 credits. Your position pays 1,000 credits a day. 1,000. I don't let her see what I'm really feeling, because from the very first second I walked through that door, my full attention has been locked onto something in the corner of the hall. Several unknown algae and red-yellow plants. Faint, almost imperceptible, but I would never mistake it. Spiritual energy. This wrecked place actually has plants containing spiritual energy. If I can absorb them, the first level of chi refining cultivation is within reach. To avoid drawing attention, I hold myself still and wait until evening. Once everyone clears out of the green sector, I go directly to the algae, sit cross-legged in front of it, close my eyes. Primordial devouring art. Activate. With the foundation of a former nascent soul cultivator, rewalking the path of cultivation is as natural as breathing. Within a handful of breaths, the spiritual energy inside those plants is forcibly drawn out, flowing into my body as thin white mist through every pore. Inside my spirit core, a sphere the size of an egg begins to take shape. Almost. Just a little more. I press forward, ready to push through and break open the first level of chi refining, when a man's voice hits me from directly behind. Excuse me? Are you Evan Chen? My eyes snap open. I swallow the flash of anger, smooth my expression, and turn. That's me. Say what you need to say. A man in a fitted black suit stands before me, studying me carefully. He lowers his voice, something deliberate in his tone. I represent the Severance. Evan Chen, are you interested in joining us? Never heard of it. Move. I say it flatly, and turn back to what I was doing. The man doesn't step back. Instead, he drops something heavy. You think accumulating credits is enough to survive here? Stop being naive. The upper levels rotted out long ago. They have absolutely no intention of returning humanity to the earth. I stop. My eyes narrow slightly. He sees my reaction and presses harder. People like us at the bottom die, and we get thrown back into the tower. But the upper levels, they control every top-tier resource on the station. They want to keep us as permanent labor generation after generation. I watch Rex coldly, saying nothing. He sees my silence and steps closer, speaking even faster. The whole station runs on 3 tiers. We're on tier 3, the workers. We trade our lives for credits and another shot at revival. Tier 2 gets priority revival access. As for tier 1, nobody has ever seen them. They even blur their voices when they speak. They have unlimited revival on demand and access to every top resource. Why should they have all of that? So, I say, voice carrying nothing. You spent 20 years in the tower and scored S tier. You're not an ordinary person. Rex holds my gaze. The Severance needs you. Don't answer now. Take this as a gesture of good faith. He drops his voice going cold. Tomorrow night, the upper levels are releasing spine jellyfish into the residential zone. They phase through walls and carry lethal venom. They do this deliberately, create casualties, drive people into panic, force everyone to work like animals to earn credits. The moment he finishes, the lights cut out. Every light in the green sector, gone. Just 2 dim emergency lights remain. The station runs low on power at night. All lights and surveillance in the work zones go dark. That's why I came now. I've said what I needed to say. Stay safe. Rex glances at the ceiling, turns, and disappears into the darkness. His footsteps fade fast. Surveillance is offline. Perfect. I spin around, locking onto that algae in the corner, the one pulsing with spiritual energy. No hesitation. I sit cross-legged, primordial devouring art roaring to life inside me. Every last trace of spiritual energy in the surrounding plants gets ripped free, compressed into streams of force pouring through my pores. Inside my spirit core, the spinning sphere begins to collapse inward, concentrating. Give way. Now. I push with everything I have. Boom. The compressed energy liquefies in an instant, flooding through every part of my body in rushing waves. Energy gathered, chi refined, done. I feel the power returning, power I haven't felt in so long, and my eyes snap open. Gold light fires from my pupils. I raise my right hand toward the red-yellow plant more than 10 meters away and seize it. Telekinesis. The plant lifts from its pot without a breath of wind, crossing the distance instantly and dropping cleanly into my palm. I tuck it into my pocket, hands in pockets, and walk back to the residential zone like nothing happened. Back at my pod, I open the door and stop. Someone is sitting on my bed. Yara, different outfit. She's sitting there, deliberately disheveled, expression intentionally inviting. What are you doing? I look at her, expression flat. You weren't answering messages, so I used your terminal password to let myself in. She doesn't hide her purpose at all, reaching for her collar. Stop pretending you're not interested. I curse internally. This woman is a disaster. The spiritual plant in my pocket needs to be absorbed. The energy is already dispersing. I have absolutely no time for this. Get out. Before I can finish, the lights overhead begin flickering violently. A sharp screeching electrical sound tears through the air. The entire residential zone plunges into an unstable, terrifying half-dark. Yara freezes, face draining to white, scrambling for her clothes. Power surge. There's something paranormal in the residential zone. Paranormal? My expression sharpens. I thought that wasn't until tomorrow night. Hide somewhere. Now. Yara is trembling. Hide where? I grab her by the collar and lift her. If those are spine jellyfish, these tin walls offer exactly zero protection. Before I can finish that thought, a sound fills the hall. Low, resonant, vast, like something calling from the deep ocean. I kick the door open and look out. Several semi-transparent jellyfish, each one over 10 meters tall, drifting through the air like ghosts. Hundreds of thousands of tendrils tracking every living thing in sight. Run! Yara screams and instinctively lunges for the metal ladder outside. My pod is near the top of the honeycomb, more than 10 meters up. Climbing down takes at least 30 seconds, and a tendril has already punched through the wall of the pod next to mine. No time. Hold on to me! I pull Yara close and wrap one arm around her waist, not even giving her a moment to react. I plant one foot on the metal railing and push off. Bang! As Yara's scream tears through the air, air, I pull her close and leap without hesitation from 10 meters up. Wind screams past us. The moment we hit the ground, I release a burst of spiritual energy and drive it into my legs. A deep, heavy impact. The metal floor buckles under my feet. I land clean, completely unharmed, without bending a single knee. I release Yara and look up, staring at the jellyfish overhead. Something cold and sharp crosses my face. Yara releases a reflexive scream, eyes snapping shut. But a second later, her eyes fly open. She finds herself standing on the ground, completely unharmed. She stares at me, face going red, whether from the fall, the adrenaline, or from being caught so forcefully, she can't quite tell. Stop standing there, run. I have no time for her inner world. I grab her arm and pull her hard toward the emergency exit. The residential zone is chaos. People pouring out of every pod in every direction. Once we're through the emergency door, I turn back, staring at what's happening in the hall. Without question, this is the most disturbing feeding I have ever witnessed. The spine jellyfish, hundreds of thousands of tendrils that were packed together, suddenly scatter in all directions, shooting toward every living thing in sight. Tendrils fast as lightning, snatching dozens of people and hoisting them into the air. Within seconds, every person stung by those tendrils doesn't even get to scream. They simply vanish. This station doesn't have a single decent weapon, I say, jaw tight, voice low. It wouldn't matter if it did. Nothing works. Yara grips my sleeve, voice shaking uncontrollably. Physical attacks, energy weapons, all of them pass right through. They exist on a different layer, like they're not even there. The helplessness of being prey with no way to fight back lights something dark and furious in my chest. If I still had my nascent soul cultivation, these jellyfish wouldn't even qualify as material for a formation array. They wouldn't even be good enough for that. But now, I can only watch as they finish feeding, emit a single resonant crystalline tone, and phase from solid to nothing, vanishing into the air. Phase shift, spatial transfer. I stare at where the last one disappeared and press my fist closed slowly. In a place this dangerous, weakness is unforgivable. I have to become stronger, as fast as possible. More than 2 weeks pass, and during those 2 weeks, I become something utterly merciless. A machine that extracts every trace of spiritual energy I can find. During the day, in the green sector, I openly absorb the spiritually charged algae. At night, I pocket a few of the red-yellow plants and push myself until I can't push anymore. The early stages of chi refining cultivation, for someone who was once a nascent soul cultivator starting over, are nothing. Like drinking water. Finally, after 2 weeks of obsession, my energy breaks through. Mid-stage chi refining, done. That evening, the moment the green sector shift ends, Yara appears at my side right on schedule. 2 weeks of proximity, and she's calmed down somewhat. No more throwing herself at me, but the way she looks at me keeps shifting. You look different. She leans close, studying my face with disbelief. Cultivation-grade body refinement has changed both my complexion and the way I carry myself, in ways that are hard to ignore. I give her a sideways glance and toss out a careless line. What? More into me than before? I mean it as a deflection, but Yara doesn't play along. She holds my gaze, voice carrying something genuine. Before I just thought it was the way you carried yourself. Now I actually think you're magnetic. I frown slightly. A woman developing real feelings for me, harder to deal with than a bottleneck in cultivation. Just then, a man's voice cuts into the space between us. Sorry to interrupt. I look over. It's Rex, the man from the Severance, watching me with open, undisguised assessment. Have your companion. Step away for a minute. He nods at Yara. I pat her on the shoulder. Give us a minute. She reads the room, gives me one long look, and goes. The moment we're alone, Rex gets straight to it. You really are extraordinary. That night, you jumped for more than 10 meters holding another person and landed without bending your knees. Our people saw it clearly. Those words trigger something. My gaze drops to absolute zero. A field of pressure radiates off me like a blade. You've been watching me. I close the distance, holding his eyes. My voice cuts like a blade. Rex stumbles back half a step and puts his hands up fast. Easy. In that kind of chaos, you were impossible to miss. We paid attention. That's all. No hostility. Good. I pull the pressure back. Next time, keep your eyes to yourself. Rex clears his throat and shifts into his pitch. I want to ask whether you'd consider joining us. Have you heard of power armor? He grows more excited as he talks. We've acquired a C-21 model, maximum thrust of 10 metric tons. That's 5 off-road vehicles hitting simultaneously. It requires exceptional focus to pilot, and you have the potential. 10 tons. My mind works through it quickly. At mid-stage chi refining, sustaining that kind of force would damage my bones. These ordinary people built something with actual destructive potential. Power output range? I ask, going for what matters. Full capacity, 1 hour. Standby mode, 2 weeks. He senses my interest and immediately pushes harder. If the armor isn't for you, we also offer mechanical augmentation. Replace limbs, even organs with mechanical systems. Biological reaction speed combined with mechanical force. Essentially perfect. The only drawback is phantom pain. Phantom pain? Right. The parts of your body that get replaced, they're gone, but your brain still registers them as painful. Very common side effect. I let a slow, contemptuous smile form. Abandon the path to immortality. To play with iron and circuits? Completely backwards. Absurd beyond words. Even if the augmentation fails, you can still be revived. Rex keeps rattling on in my ear, and I listen with nothing but cold contempt. The peak of what these ordinary people are so proud of barely matches foundation building stage combat strength, and they have to endure phantom pain on top of it. The armor is even more laughable. No matter how hard the shell, the person inside remains fragile. Trade my cultivation for that. Absolutely ridiculous. Are you finished? I cut him off, completely out of patience, voice like ice. I have no interest in your machinery. I need 3 things. Saltpeter, poria root, and thistle root. The last 2, the older the better. A foundation pill? That is my only objective right now. The green sector can substitute for most of the ingredients, but poria root and thistle root cannot be replaced. Rex blinks and thinks for a moment. Saltpeter is easy. Spend some credits at certain specialty markets, but those 2 herbs, outside of the mysterious tier 1, I doubt there's another supply on the entire station. Then get me to tier 1, I say, not a request. Rex laughs, though it doesn't reach his eyes. That's impossible. The highest ranking Severance members operate on tier 2. Tier 1 is completely out of reach for us. But then his tone shifts, something sharp crossing his eyes. If you genuinely want to find them, there's one other place they might exist. Earth. How do I get there? I ask. Straight to the point. Cargo hauler. Surface material runs. Rex moves fast now, throwing out the bait. Join us and I'll get you a surface clearance slot. But the surface is crawling with thalamic sentinels. Laser weapons don't penetrate their shells. You'd need mechanical augmentation before going down there. Otherwise, you're just delivering yourself. Augmentation again. Something flares in me. I've already said it twice. Keep your machinery away from me. Then, I reach out and pick up a solid steel rod from the workbench nearby. Wrist thick, pure steel. No wasted words. I channel spiritual energy through my arms, force pouring into them without restraint. Creak, crack, bang. The sound of twisting metal fills the hall. In Rex's wide, disbelieving eyes, I bend the solid rod into a tight spiral and drop it at his feet. That is what I can do. I brush the rust off my hands, looking down at him, the pressure coming off me, pushing him back step by step. Now go arrange me a hauler run, and don't bring up surgery again. Are we clear? Rex inhales sharply, voice completely unsteady. That's some kind of ability? Fine. No surgery. 1 month, and I'll have your hauler slot ready. Deal, I say. 4 words. Final. 1 month vanishes. During that entire month, I close myself off from everything and everyone. Yara's attempts to reach me stopped at my pod door without exception. I pour everything into relentless cultivation. When the last available spiritual energy enters my body, I open my eyes. The force of it sends the air around me surging outward, loose objects in the room skidding back half a meter. Late-stage chi refining, complete. My spiritual energy has multiplied. My physical body now operates well beyond ordinary human parameters. The Earth's surface may be a pit of danger, but for a foundation pill, I'll take the risk. Finally, I make my way to the docking bay of Celestia Station on schedule. I settle into the pilot seat of Hauler 006, a C1 model hauler. The controls are straightforward. Less than an hour to map every function completely. Outside the hatch, Rex hands me an earpiece with a serious expression. Keep this on. Stay in contact when you're on the surface. He leans into the hatch and runs through the mission at speed. 2 objectives. You must complete both. First, the Severance mission. On the surface, draw the geometric pattern we give you, and use the revival array to bring back a specific person. I'll confirm who when you're down there. Second, the official station mission. The area where you land has large deposits of Hawkstone underground. Yellow-green, easy to identify. Use the hauler's drill to mine as much as possible. Fill every available space, then vacuum seal what remains. I put the earpiece in and look at him until he steps back. Final warning. Rex grips the hatch edge, something close to genuine fear in his eyes. On the surface, 2 locations. Never approach either one. First, the old city ruins, full of wardens driven mad by the revival trees. Walk in and you don't walk out. Second, a massive formation, shaped exactly like a human brain, the thalamic core. Every thalamic sentinel that hunts at night sleeps inside it during the day. See it from any direction. Turn around immediately. Good luck, Evan Chen. Bang. The hatch slams shut. I sit in the pilot seat. No fear at all. Only a single hungry focus. I pull the thrust lever down. Earth, here I come. 6141. 5 hours 21 minutes. Axial undock complete. Acceleration confirmed. The hauler breaks away from Celestia Station. Engines working against gravity. Fighting the pull as we drop toward the surface. My eyes stay fixed forward. Don't drift. Stay on the landing coordinates. That's the only thing that matters. Less than 5 minutes, and the ground fills my viewport. In the distance, ruins of old cities stretching out below, black towers rising like needles into the sky. I take one glance, and my stomach turns before I can understand why. I look away. Felt it too, didn't you? The earpiece crackles. Rex's voice coming through. Even a few seconds looking at it makes you sick. The proportions are completely wrong. Asymmetrical in ways that violate every human instinct about balance. That's psychic contamination. I grit through the discomfort, jaw tight, something sharp in my voice, and then the hauler slams into the ground. The hatch opens, and spiritual energy dense enough to see crashes into me. Every pore in my body opens involuntarily. One day in this environment does more for my cultivation than 2 weeks inside the station. No time to appreciate it. The thalamic sentinels become fully active at dark. I have maybe 14 hours to accomplish everything, and every second counts. I scan the surrounding area. Clear. I deploy the mining probe in a few precise movements. Drill driving into the ground cleanly. Clean and efficient. Probe takes 30 minutes to locate deposits. Green light, the probe handles it alone. Red light, reposition manually. Rex's voice follows. Can I move around during the survey window? Stay within range, I answer. Otherwise the underground people might see no one guarding and sabotage the probe. Underground people? I frown. The term means nothing to me. People who escape the tower. Their minds warped. They learn to want pain. He fills me in quickly. There's a mushroom. Pale red, soft. Normal people eat it and it tears them apart. But to the underground people it spikes their dopamine beyond any natural limit. The more pain they feel, the more they want. My expression shifts. So the tower would be paradise to them? Exactly. That's why the tower only holds people like us. People who are still sane. Then why don't we learn to be like them? It would make the tower powerless. The station leadership keeps that quiet. We know nothing about how it works. He goes silent after that. I don't follow up. I push into the dense forest, following the spiritual energy, searching for aged poria root and deep purple thistle root, the 2 core ingredients for a foundation pill, rare and never guaranteed. I collect a good amount of spiritually charged plants along the way. Still no sign of the 2 main targets, but enough to refine into pills that will sell for credits. The trip isn't wasted. Before long, evening arrives. 5 o'clock. Head back now. Any later and the thalamic sentinels will start activating. Rex's voice cuts into my earpiece. I'm only at Chuai refining stage, not reckless enough to test my limits here. I turn and run for the hauler, but just as I close in on the landing site, a wet, wrong sound enters my ears from ahead, carried on the wind. My entire body tenses instantly. I switch the earpiece to audio amplification mode. You're picking that up? What is that sound? I hear it. His voice shifts. Heavier than I've heard from him before. Don't go any closer. That sound is the thalamic core. My stomach drops. My hauler is right ahead. If I can't go forward, how do I get back to the station? Confirm its position first. As long as it isn't dark yet, it won't attack even if you're close. I force myself steady, lighten my steps, and move forward carefully. At the edge of the tree line, a semi-transparent mass roughly the height of 4 people, shaped unmistakably like a human brain, sits in the open ground ahead. My hauler is completely engulfed inside it. The entire hull carpeted with thalamic sentinels, packed together so densely my scalp crawls. You see it? I see it. I stare at the pulsing mass. It's completely swallowed my hauler. What do I do? Let's just say your luck isn't great today. Rex laughs bitterly. The core spawns at random locations. The odds of it landing exactly on your hauler are near 0. Has this happened before? A few times. He's blunt about it. The hauler has autopilot. It can fly itself back. The driver just stays on the surface and dies out there. Revival is possible, but it costs a lot of credits. And mission failure comes with additional penalties. A bad deal. He pauses and adds, but if you can last until morning and wait for it to dissolve on its own, not only do you avoid the penalties, the ore you mined is pure profit. I stare at the pulsing, groaning mass and press my back teeth together hard. How do I survive until morning? Give me a minute. I'm asking around. The earpiece goes quiet. I stand at the tree line, staring at the thalamic core as the sky gets darker by degrees. 15 minutes later, Rex comes back. Got something. 2 options. Possible survival rate. First option, retreat to the old city ruins. That's the warden's territory. Thalamic sentinels won't cross into it. I reject this before he finishes. The warden's technology can drop me before I take 3 steps. Walking in there is the same as dying immediately. Then let's just say, if your luck runs out, that's the end of the run. Rex is blunt about it. Don't like option 1? There's option 2, the underground. It's the unbound's territory. Even the sentinels won't go in. He immediately warns you, but don't say I didn't warn you. The unbound don't attack on sight, but they are deeply strange. We've had almost no contact with them. Once you're in, you're on your own. You glance up at the sky. 6 o'clock exactly. 1 hour until dark. No time to hesitate. You choose option 2 without a second thought. But how do I get down there? What's your mission on the surface? He fires back. You catch on immediately. Your eyes light up. The mining probe. His voice sharpens at once. Your probe wasn't pulled in, was it? No. Then what are you waiting for? His voice crashes through your earpiece. Max the probe's power. Drill down, punch through the surface. You spin and sprint toward the probe, then slam the throttle all the way to the top. A second later, the drill head lets out a deafening roar, all or nothing, no going back, and drives hard into the ground. The thunderous boom of metal hitting rock explodes outward, the vibration numbing your feet. Even the thalamic core nearby, 4 stories tall, writhes and pulsates in the noise. Fine cracks split across its surface, and countless thalamic sentinels churn in the gaps, ready ready to swarm out at any second. How's it going? Are you through? Rex's voice in the earpiece is frantic. 30 minutes to dark. Stay sharp. Stop talking. You bite back through clenched teeth, a vein throbbing at your temple. Every word you say makes it worse. Out of the corner of your eye, you see the cracks on the thalamic core splitting wider. A sentinel is already half out. 15 minutes to dark. Less than 15 minutes left. The reminder blasts through your earpiece again. I know. You knit your brows, eyes fixed on the probe's progress, cursing under your breath. You yank out your water supply and pour every drop into the drill shaft. A sharp hiss. White steam billows up instantly. The overheat alarm finally goes silent. You grind through another 10 minutes. The drill's roar cuts out. Through! Jump in! Now! Forget the rope! Rex's voice is practically bursting with excitement through the earpiece. But you spin around and your heart drops. The thalamic core has torn completely open. A black tide of thalamic sentinels floods out, reaching the drill shaft in seconds. No time. You decide instantly. Spiritual energy surges through your entire body. You ignore the cable completely, leap and plunge straight into the shaft hundreds of meters deep. Oh god. You actually jumped. Rex's shout is shredded apart by the rushing wind. Your hands and feet claw into the shaft walls to slow yourself down. But the screeching above keeps getting closer. The sentinels cling to the walls like shadow creatures, skittering down closer and closer. You can almost smell the damp, suffocating stench coming off them. All or nothing. You detonate blood ignition in an instant and release the walls. You drop like a meteor straight into the underground. Crack. The brittle snap of bone damage. You slam into the ground, and your legs erupt in searing pain so intense you can't move at all. But the screeching overhead keeps closing in, driving straight toward you. You force yourself to move, grab the herbs from your pack, and shove them all into your mouth without thinking. Spiritual energy and herbal power flood the wounds together. Feeling slowly creeps back into your legs. 20 seconds, you force yourself upright through sheer will. Every single movement costs you enormously. And just then, the sentinels reach the top of the shaft, just one step away from you. But the next second, they slam to a halt as if hitting an invisible wall. No matter how much they shriek and thrash, not one dares cross the threshold. The strength drains out of you all at once. You collapse to the ground, gasping for air. Are you there? You tap the earpiece and call out to Rex. Only static. You restart, call again. Still nothing. Hundreds of meters underground. Signal gone completely. No time to waste. You sit cross-legged right there and channel spiritual energy to heal. You push through until the early hours of the next morning. Finally able to move. Barely. Two things matter right now. Find water. Find a way back to the surface. Every drop of water you had went into cooling the drill. If you don't recharge soon, you won't need monsters to finish you. You'll collapse on your own. You switch on your flashlight and follow the carved tunnel inward. The fewer plants along the path, the more foot traffic it sees, which means more likely to find water and a settlement. You walk for a full 2 hours. Then footsteps. Ahead. Your nerves snap tight. You draw your protective charm and ease forward. The moment your flashlight sweeps across the space, every instinct in your body goes on high alert. It's a pale, slender girl, but something is deeply off. Dozens of tiny iron nails are embedded across her face, and polished iron hooks hang from her eyelids. Just looking at her makes your skin crawl. So this is what Kaz called the unbound, the ones who treat suffering as pleasure. You force a smile anyway. You keep your voice low. Can you understand me? The girl startles and stands there frozen for a long moment. Then, in a dazed murmur, she finally speaks. You're from the surface, aren't you? You keep a safe distance and get straight to it. Do you know how to get back to the surface? She stands there, eyes unfocused, swaying slightly like she's drunk, rattling the iron bucket in her hand. Finally, she says, I'm going to fetch water. Want to come with me? Your eyes light up immediately. Sure, I could really use some water. She turns and walks ahead, barely a word out of her. You ask something, she hums back a reply. The rest of the time, she's half asleep on her feet, barely conscious. You haven't gone far when the sound of trickling water reaches you. The moment an underground river comes into view, the girl scoops up nearly a full bucket, tilts her head back, and pours every drop straight down her throat. You frown. Haven't had water in days? No. She shakes her head, completely matter of fact. I'm afraid I'll get thirsty, so I drink ahead of time. You're stunned. So to avoid getting hungry, you all eat your meals in advance too? Yeah, she nods. Otherwise, if you wait until you're hungry to eat, how much would you have to suffer? A lightning bolt splits through your mind. Their entire world is flipped upside down. You keep your shock contained and carefully probe, so you've been fighting off sleep. Staying awake feels exciting, but falling asleep is unbearable? Of course, she says, pointing to her own eyes. Been pushing through 2 days without sleep. It hits you instantly. Her glazed, half-dead look is an exhaustion. She's been awake for 2 full days and nights, pushed to the absolute limit. You don't ask any more questions. You pull out your water bottle, fill it partway, and take a small sip. Cool sweetness spreads through you instantly. The girl watches you, eyes full of longing. Does drinking water feel good? Yeah, you nod. When your throat is so dry it's burning, 1 sip of cold water, it's really something. We unbound never get to feel that, she says, voice hollow with longing. You don't want to waste any more time. You cut straight to it. Water's been fetched. Can you take me to the surface now? She blinks, like she's only just remembering. Oh right, going to the surface. Sorry, I got mixed up. You watch her barely holding herself upright, frustration burning with nowhere to go. She sways, and her head bumps straight into the wall. The bucket crashes to the ground. Water spills everywhere. I can't hold on anymore. She looks at you, voice pure desperation. Can I sleep first, just once? When I wake up, I'll take you to the surface. And just like that, without waiting for your answer, she turns and heads deeper into the tunnel. You stand there watching her go, then turn to look at the pitch black maze of tunnels behind you. Ahead, an unknown, unbound village. Behind, a dead-end drill shaft. No choice at all. You grit your teeth and follow her into the stone room. Stepping inside, you watch her drop face first onto the bed and fall into a deep sleep in seconds. Nothing you can do. You sit cross-legged beside her, channel spiritual energy to continue healing, consolidate your cultivation, and wait for her to wake up and lead you back. You don't know how much time passes when a knock at the door. A man's voice outside, calm and polite. Hello, do you mind opening up? Your nerves go taut. You slowly open the door. Outside stands a middle-aged man in a black jacket. Not a single mark on him anywhere. Nothing like the twisted unbound you've seen. He looks you up and down, then smiles. Allow me to introduce myself. I'm Knox. I live in this village. A researcher of sorts. Used to be on the station. Research? Your brow furrows. Full guard up. Researching why the unbound treat pain as pleasure? He leans in, voice dropping to a conspiratorial murmur. Well, want to see what I found? No thanks. You turn him down flat, no sugarcoating. I just want to get back to the surface. Nothing else interests me. Knox glances at the girl sleeping on the bed, a faint smirk pulling at his lips, wanting to leave but staying put. You don't know the way, and you're waiting for her to wake up and guide you. I'd advise against waiting. Why's that? That girl is Jin. She chases extremes. Pushes herself days without sleep, then crashes for a full day or more when she finally goes under. Then I'll wait, you say, unbothered. Well, you probably don't know. Surface people can't just spend the night down here. His tone shifts, suddenly heavy. Stay too long and you'll catch the curse. Just like us. Your mind flips completely, and it's irreversible. Your stomach drops. You stare at him. Irreversible? Even after a revival? Useless. Knox nods. Then he turns it back on you. You're thinking that catching the curse means you wouldn't fear the tower anymore, aren't you? I think twice about that. I'm not thinking that. You shake your head. Unless the curse can be cured. His eyes sharpen. He lays it out right away. Once you're cursed, eating, drinking, sleeping, all the things that should feel normal become pure torment. The hungrier you eat, the thirstier you drink, the more intense the suffering. To avoid the pain, we eat and drink before we need to, sleep before we're tired, and fight off sleep when it comes. I don't chase extremes the way they do. You know why? Why? Because that path leads to death sooner or later. His voice is grave. For us, the moment of dying feels 1,000 times times more intense than eating ever did. You get it instantly. It becomes an addiction. Addicted to death. Exactly. He nods hard. Every single person who catches the curse ends up addicted to dying. They revive and end themselves immediately. So many villages down here allowed to grow their own population, yet the numbers keep shrinking. That's why. He sighs, heavy with grief. The revival system was supposed to save us. Instead, it's driving us toward extinction. He looks at you again and makes his offer again. Nothing else to do right now anyway. Come take a look at my lab. Whether you end up helping me or not, at 3 in the morning I'll personally take you back to the surface. You run the numbers in your head. It's 2 in the afternoon. 4 or 5 hours back to the surface put you right at nightfall, straight into the Thalamic Sentinels hunting. You hesitate for a moment, then stand. Fine. I'll take a look. Nox's energy spikes instantly. He turns and leads you straight to his room. The moment you step through the door you stop. The place is packed with equipment, flasks, microscopes, alcohol lamps, and a pile of precision instruments you can't even name. Compared to the crumbling ruins outside, this is a completely different world. Well, not bad, right? He's beaming with pride. People from this village, even nearby villages, all pitched in. This research is for lifting the curse, saving everyone's life. You look around the room and can't help asking, where do you get electricity down here? Underground river, hydropower. 500 meters of drop. More than enough for this lab. He doesn't elaborate. He walks straight to a device that looks like a radar dish and starts working it as he talks. I've been researching for over 100 years and still haven't found a cure. But this infrasound spectrometer, it led me to the source of the curse. You found the source? You blink. He doesn't answer. He just looks up at you with a sudden grin, eyes burning with obsession, and before you can react, flips the switch. Ugh. A strange, indescribable whisper bores straight into your mind, deeply disturbing. It feels like your skull has been struck by a hammer. Energy surges violently. Your eyes go red in an instant. You barely hold back the fury when you speak. You actually use me as a test subject. The next second, spiritual energy detonates through you. Your entire body vanishes from where you stood. Boom. A violent crash explodes through the room. Nox flies backward like a snapped kite string, slamming hard into the magnetosonic trap. The device shatters to pieces. The lab is left in ruins. He presses a hand to his chest and lies on the ground, clearly in pain, yet his eyes burn with obsession as he stares at you. Are you augmented? No, I scanned you. No signs of augmentation. How can you move that fast with that much force? You walk toward him step by step. Your gaze is cold as ice. You're not afraid I'll just take you out? He nods calmly, wiping the corner of his mouth. That was my fault. Hitting me was fair. It's just a shame about this equipment. Repairing it will take a long time. That's on you. You brought it on yourself. Just then, footsteps outside. Someone calls out, Nox, you okay? Fine, just knocked over the table. Go on with what you're doing. Nox calls back immediately. The footsteps fade, and he turns back to you with a bitter smile. Man, I was out of options. I detected what I believe is the curse's infrasound signal, but I've never been able to verify it. Been stuck here for years. You're the only normal person who's come down here in all that time. I had no choice. This research is about every unbound person's survival. You let it go. You just stare at him and ask, how long before a surface person catches the curse? 2 to 3 days, he says, genuine. But you just heard the curse's frequency, so that window may have shortened. Shortened to when? Hard to say. Depends on the individual. No more talking. You sit cross-legged right where you are and center yourself completely, dropping into the inner vision state in an instant, scanning every part of your body for anything wrong. Nox sees this and stands by carefully, not even daring to breathe. The inner vision state only lasts a little over 10 minutes before you snap your eyes open. Cold dread radiates through your whole body. I don't have much time. You fix your eyes on Nox, an edge in your voice you can't suppress. Thanks to your little experiment, in 10 hours I'll be fully infected with the curse. I have to get back to the surface right now. Nox freezes, glances down at his watch. He steadies himself fast. If you leave now, you won't reach the surface until 9 or 10 at night. Guaranteed run-in with the Thalamic Sentinels. But compared to catching the curse, getting taken out by Sentinels at least means you can revive. Not a dead end. He stands up. I caused this. I'll guide you out. Fine. Your eyes narrow slightly. You let the threat come through plain and direct. But don't try anything clever, or I won't just tear this lab apart. I'll make sure your entire village catches the curse. Nox's face goes stiff. He switches to a conciliatory smile immediately. Don't worry. I'll get you to the surface safe and sound. If we hit Sentinels, I'll act as bait and draw them away. Deal. No need. You don't bother arguing. You turn and drag him toward the door, moving so fast you leave a draft. I don't need an ordinary person playing bait. Just lead the way and keep up. Nox latches onto the keyword instantly, eyes going wide as saucers. Man, are you actually a cultivator? You don't answer? You just walk faster. Hey, slow down! Nox scrambles to keep up, not daring to lag. Meanwhile, back in one of the stone rooms in the village, Jin is pressed against the window, eyes locked on your retreating figures. The moment you're far enough away, she immediately crouches low and slips out the door, quietly falling into step behind you. On the way to the surface, you suddenly speak up. Wait, you've got the curse, right? Just now when I hit you, why did you make a sound? Nox gives an awkward laugh. I was giving you an outlet. Can't have you hit me and then just stand there looking totally calm about it. That leaves you speechless. You were on the station before. Someone this smart. How did you end up cursed and trapped underground? Nox's expression goes serious in an instant. What if I told you I came down here looking for a way out? You spin to look at him, eyes full of surprise. He just grins again, a nostalgic wave of his hand. The short version, back then I was young and reckless. Wanted to find the truth. Wanted to use the curse to fight the tower. Free humanity first, then lift the curse after. Except it all went sideways. The curse was 100 times more complicated than I thought, and just like that, over 100 years passed down here. You look at him and with genuine respect give a small bow. Whatever your reasons were, 100 years researching the cure. I respect that. He lets out a long sigh, face twisted with regret. If I could do it over, I'd never set foot down here. I regret everything. Silence the rest of the way. Nearly half an hour more passes when you spin around sharply and bark out, come out, don't make me come get you. Don't, it's me. Light floods on instantly. Jin's nail-studded face emerges from the dark, flashing you both an ingratiating smile. Nox's brow knots immediately. Jin, why did you follow? The surface is crawling with Thalamic Sentinels. You want to get yourself killed? Want to lose yourself completely? Jin can't argue with that. She immediately turns to you, perfectly self-assured. I made a promise. I said I'd take him to the surface when I woke up. I keep my word. Enough. You cut Nox off before he can speak. Bring her along. All I need from you two is to guide me underground. You don't have to go above ground. No real danger. Nox hesitates, then turns to warn Jin. You can come, but without my say-so, no running off on your own. Understood? Got it. Jin nods obediently right away. You watch this exchange and casually ask, she's still so young. Nox smiles. Born and raised underground. Only been through one reshaping. Barely 30 years old all told. Down here that makes her just a kid. The three of you press on, getting closer to the surface with every step. And just then, the earpiece you've been wearing for so long crackles to life. Kaz's familiar voice comes through. Evan, can you hear me? Hello, I can hear you. You are completely calm. No signal underground. I knew you were still out there. Kaz lets out a long breath of relief. Everyone else had to reset. I held off on triggering the hauler's autopilot. The ship is still where you left it. Wait for daylight and head straight over. I can't wait for daylight. Your voice goes heavy. The underground got to me. 5 hours max before I have to be back on the surface, or it's over. What kind of situation? What happened? Kaz is baffled. Long story. I'll explain when I'm back. No time to waste. Straight to the point. What I need right now is to get past the Thalamic core and back to the hauler. Hold on. Let me find someone to help. Don't go up yet. The earpiece goes quiet, as if he's already running off to make arrangements. Nox has been listening closely the whole time and can't help remarking. The station takes such good care of people nowadays. Gone this long without contact, and the hauler just just waits. Back when I was a pilot, if you lost contact for more than 8 hours, you were written off automatically. The person I'm in contact with isn't actually from the station's operations team. You say it plainly. And I'm not an official hauler pilot either. I have my own channels. That's how I got to the surface. Fair enough, man. Sounds like you carved out a nice position on the station and just switched careers. What was that whisper I heard in the lab? What was it? It's a magnetosonic wave. Knox explains right away. Normal ears can't detect it. My device converted it into an audible frequency. That's why you heard it. I can now say with complete certainty that this magnetosonic wave, which fills every corner of the underground, is the source of all the changes down here. You're a bit exasperated. So all that chaos, just to verify this one thing? Research demands honesty. If it's not verified, you can't move a single step forward. He says it like it's obvious. You pause, then ask. That sound kept repeating specific patterns. What do they mean? How would I know? He spreads his hands. It's a naturally occurring vibration. No special meaning behind it. You give a slow nod and let it go. As the conversation winds down, the three of you arrive at the exit to the surface. And just then Kaz's voice returns in the earpiece. Hey, can you hear me? I got someone to pull up satellite surveillance. I can give you a precise fix on your position and tell you which direction the hauler is. As for how you avoid the sentinels, that's on you. Understood. Short and clean. When can I move? Anytime. But before you go, light a bonfire so I can lock onto your position. Just then, Knox speaks up. Evan, before you go, could you pass something along to the person in your earpiece? You give a go-ahead. Tell him I've been researching the underground for years. I've hit a wall. I'm hoping he can fund some lab equipment. In return, I'll share all of my research. You relay the message to Kaz right away, giving a quick rundown of the context. A few seconds of silence on the line. Then Kaz responds. Helping him is fine, but we need to see real results. Beyond the research data, we also want some of the underground special plants. Otherwise, it's not worth the trouble. Deal? No problem. Knox agrees without hesitation, then pushes his luck. Also, I want to stay in contact long term. Can you leave me a communicator? I need access to the station's database. It would speed up my research enormously. A communicator is no problem. I'll leave you one. Kaz's voice comes back, but the spare is on the hauler. How do you get to it? You can't just charge through the sentinels. At that, Knox looks a little helpless. For an ordinary person to reach the hauler right under the sentinel's watch is pure fantasy. You read the situation, hesitate for a few seconds, then speak slowly. I have a method. I can use a secret technique to temporarily unlock your body's potential. Give you a burst of speed and strength far beyond any normal person. Might be enough to shake off the sentinels. Knox's eyes light up immediately. You shift tone, completely serious. But this technique has a cost. It burns through your life force heavily until you can't sustain yourself anymore. Still want to use it? Yes. Why wouldn't I? He doesn't think twice. Agrees on the spot, eyes blazing with barely contained excitement. Getting to experience a technique like that is worth it on its own, let alone getting the equipment too. He steps forward, barely able to wait. When do we go? What do I need to do to prepare? You glance at Jin, then look at Knox. Shouldn't she go back first? Knox immediately leans in, urgent. Can she come with us? More people means better odds. He turns to Jin, genuine appeal in his eyes. Jin's eyes light up instantly. She nods eagerly. I want to come. Take me with you. I promise I can make it to the hauler. You say nothing more. You turn and walk straight for the surface exit. At the tunnel mouth, Knox stares at the meager pile of dry wood and straw, brow creased. To get bright enough for a satellite to see? This is nowhere near enough. We need to go to the surface for fuel. Do you go, or do me and Jin go? You don't even look up. Neither. Going to the surface for fuel would just pull the thalamic sentinels right to us. The words are barely out when you raise one hand and a fist-sized fireball explodes into existence in your palm. Knox's eyes go perfectly round. He stops breathing. His mouth opens to shout. Your one sharp gesture cuts him off cold. The next second, you fling your arm forward. The fireball slams into a nearby tree with a boom, and the whole tree erupts in a roaring blaze. You check in with Kaz. Can you see the fire? Got it. It's 10:30 at night. On your watch, the minute hand points to the moon. The hour hand direction is southeast. Got it. Direction locked. Using the burning tree as your starting point, run straight southeast. That takes you straight to the hauler. Knox tenses up immediately. Running through the trees, you can't move in a straight line. What if you drift off course? Kaz's voice is completely steady. Then light more fires for signals. I'll keep correcting your course the whole way. Whether you make it is up to you. Knox clicks his tongue and turns to you. Then let's go now. You give one word. Go. Spiritual energy surges to your fingertips, converts into pure force, and floods into Knox in an instant. Knox shudders, lets out a low growl. Here it comes. He takes one step forward and launches several meters ahead, eyes blazing. He wants to test it again. You cut him off with a sharp command. Don't waste it. This technique burns your life force. The faster you burn through your stamina, the faster it runs out. Understand? Knox's voice goes immediately urgent. Yes, yes, yes. I'm just too excited. Sorry. You ignore him and turn to channel the same energy boost into Jin. You drop one sentence. Keep up with me. If you fall behind, call out. Then you spin and burst out of the underground tunnel, both of them right on your heels. 30 seconds of sprinting through the trees. A strange pulse ripples out of the darkness. The thalamic core is moving. You bark a sharp warning. It's coming. Everyone watch out. The words are barely out when dozens of thalamic sentinels burst from the dark, moving with terrifying speed right on your heels in seconds. Knox is frantic, shouting, Evan! You spin instantly. Several fireballs fly from your hands. Some hit sentinels. The rest ignite the surrounding trees. Flames shoot skyward in an instant. Kaz's voice in the earpiece starts calling out directions. Copy. You acknowledge, immediately change course and keep charging forward. The sentinels behind you won't shake loose. You throw wave after wave of fireballs, but your spiritual energy is nearly spent. Can't burn anymore. You don't slow down. You call back to the rear of the group. Knox, I need you to hold off the sentinels with everything you have. I'll take Jin ahead. Knox goes blank for a second. What? Your voice hits with undeniable authority. Jin takes the equipment back. You stay and cover us. Move. There's no time for him to think it over. Knox responds and throws himself at the pursuing sentinels with everything he has. The crash of impact erupts behind you instantly. Just a few seconds later, complete silence. Jin watches it happen, face completely unreadable, and locks in right behind you. A little over a minute more of sprinting. Lights finally flash up ahead. You say quietly, found the hauler. Kaz exhales with obvious relief through the earpiece. Thank God. What about Knox, who was with you? He's out. Jin's still here, and she's bringing the equipment. The equipment doesn't matter. Kaz cuts in. Drop it on the ground and mark the spot. Knox can retrieve it himself in the daylight. What I want is Jin to come back with you to the station. The Severance has people who want to study her condition. Ask if she's willing. You turn to Jin beside you and repeat it word for word. Jin bites her lip, clearly torn. While she's still deciding, you both reach the hauler. Dozens of sentinels lunge at you. You fire off a quick burst of fireballs and drive them back. You pull Jin into the cockpit. Made up your mind? Jin takes in everything in the cockpit, grabs the edge of your sleeve. I'll go with you. You acknowledge it, casually tossing the glow orb and backup communicator out of the cockpit, then pull the controls. The hauler lifts off slowly. The moment you're airborne, something hits you. Earlier, you told me to revive someone and get them to the surface. I forgot. Doesn't matter. Kaz's voice carries a smile. With everything that went wrong this time, you still managed to bring the resources back. That's more than enough. And you brought back someone from underground on top of that. That counts as a major win. You glance at Jin, curled up beside you. Speaking of, what happens to Jin? She can't just stay on the station permanently. She has no status there. It won't last. Kaz says. Once the research is done, either send her back to the surface on the hauler or she resets on her own terms and returns underground. Her call. Your eyes light up. What about waking Knox directly onto the station? He could share his research with you directly and make use of your database too. Win-win. You're getting ahead of yourself. Kaz shuts it down immediately. Reviving an unregistered person onto the station without authorization is a serious violation. You'd get expelled. You drop it. You lean back in your seat and wait for the hauler to dock. Half an hour later, docking sequence initiates, countdown finishes, system chimes ring out one after another. By the time the hatch opens, it's midnight. Cargo offloaded. Pilot may exit. You walk out of the hauler with Jin. Kaz has already been waiting in the service bay and steps up to clap you on the shoulder. Welcome back. 2 nights on the surface and you made it out without a scratch. And you brought everything back. You've got real ability. He looks past you at Jin, takes a moment, then speaks. You must be Jin. Welcome. Jin doesn't say a word. She shrinks back behind you. Kaz goes a little awkward and quickly shifts his attention to your pack. These plants, are they medicine? Gathered on the surface. You say it evenly. It's in my records. I worked with herbal cultivation before. I know my way around it. Made the trip to the surface and picks them up to exchange for credits. Kaz narrows his eyes at your pack, thoughtful. Then he speaks. The ore you collected this time, aside from what gets submitted, I'll convert the rest into credits for you. Transferred straight to your personal terminal. The severance takes its cut, of course. That all right? No problem. You nod. Can't have you working for nothing. Oh right. Kaz suddenly remembers something. The poria root and thistle root you asked about. I couldn't get them, but I heard someone has a wild ginseng root over 200 years old. Those 2 words, wild ginseng, stop you cold. In the cultivation world, aged ginseng is exceptional quality. To refine a foundation pill, you normally need poria root and thistle root that are at least 100 years old. With a 200-year ginseng, that age requirement drops to just 20 or 30 years. Right there in the service bay, you fix your eyes on Kaz and cut straight to it. How do I get the ginseng? Kaz spreads his hands. The owner doesn't really want to sell. The price is extreme. 4,400,000 credits. Not a single credit less. 4.4 million. Your heart drops on the spot and you do the math instantly. As head of the green sector, you earn 30,000 credits a month. Even if you spent nothing at all, you'd need 12 full years. Kaz sees your expression sink. He speaks up right away. Don't look so grim. The severance can help you. Your eyes snap up. How? Would you put up the 4.4 million? I'd do it in a heartbeat. I can see you have what it takes. Kaz's voice is serious. But you need to convince more than half the group first. That's the only way to make it happen. How do I convince them? Show them what I can do. That's not enough on its own. Kaz spells it out. What you can do, the station's augmented personnel can do too. 4.4 million doesn't get handed over for nothing. You have to complete missions, build a record, show them your worth. You say nothing. You just wait for him to continue. Don't rush. The station and internal channels rotate high difficulty missions after a period. This is your chance to prove yourself. You agree. Already running a 2-track plan in your head. Take missions to earn the severance's trust and use the herbs you gathered to refine and sell pills. Then you shift gears. Do you know anyone in the station's 3D printing room? I know people, yeah, but the upper levels keep tight control over printing. Specialized equipment parts never get approved. I'm not asking for that. Just a container, heat resistant, about half a meter tall. Kaz glances at the herbs in your pack, catching on. Open flames are prohibited on the station. I can get you an electric heating container. You don't budge even slightly. It has to meet my specs exactly. Can't use it on the station. I'll take it to the surface. Just get it made. Kaz nods. And you add one more thing. There's something else. Help me find someone. A friend I met in the tower. Name's Leo. Absolute genius. The only reason I made it from the tower to the station was because of him. Should be somewhere on the 2nd level. Kaz's eyes light up immediately. That capable? Alright, I'll do my best. I'll let you know the moment I hear anything. He finishes and leaves with Jin, and you follow right after, leaving the service bay. Your cultivation is stuck at the late stage of cheer refining, hitting a wall. You stop forcing it. The days that follow settle into a rhythm. Handle your sector duties on schedule, then wander different parts of the station after hours. Life is quiet. More than 10 days slide by before Kaz comes looking for you again, this time in the green sector hall. He gets straight to it. Knox found the communicator. He reached out last night and sent over part of his research data. But that's not why I'm here. I'm here about a mission. Your eyes light up immediately. There's a mission for me? Yeah, he lowers his voice. Have you heard of Europa Station? You blink. There's another station? Of course there is, Kaz shoots back. Haven't you ever wondered? Everyone here is from the same background. Not a different face in sight. You follow the thread. So everyone else is at Europa? Not exactly. The remaining human station's number 3 in total. Kaz runs through it quickly. The largest is ours, Celestia. Then there's the old international station, now renamed Paradise. And finally Europa, filled entirely with people from the Western world. You skip the irrelevant details and cut to what matters. So this mission involves Europa. Correct. Kaz glances around, making sure no one is nearby, and drops his voice even lower. Europa Station had an incident last month. You raise an eyebrow, waiting for him to go on. Normally deaths aren't a big deal. Revive and move on. Standard procedure. Both Celestia and Paradise send ships to assist. But Kaz's tone shifts sharply. This time, almost everyone both sides sent ended up gone. After reviving, they couldn't even explain what had happened to them. You immediately understand why he's here. You want me to go to Europa and find out what's happening. Exactly. Kaz nods. The upper levels have been sending their best, one after another. Nothing. That's when they thought of you. Your expression grows cautious. Kaz jumps in to reassure you. Whatever you manage to get, all the credit goes to you. And if you run into danger, the severance has your back. The second you're out, we bring you right back. You're still hesitating. Kaz throws down his final card. That ginseng root I mentioned, I'll set it aside for you personally, whether the mission succeeds or not. The ginseng is yours. That lands. You make up your mind instantly. A backed play, where even if it goes sideways, the core goal is secured. This mission is worth taking. You say it outright. Fine. I'll take the mission. When do I leave? The sooner the better. Kaz has clearly been ready for this. He leads you straight toward the service bay. I've got a Type A scout ship prepped for you. You've handled the C1 hauler before. This one's no problem. Anything you don't know, ask me anytime. I'll stay in contact the whole way. After a long wait, the ship breaks free of the docking bay and races toward Europa Station. 2 hours later, your ship comes to a slow stop alongside Europa Station, or tries to. There's no docking at all. The station's entire system has gone dark. No docking, no internal lighting, no life support. Looking across, it's pitch black inside, a deep, silent maze waiting to be explored. You quickly suit up in your pressure suit while asking through the earpiece. This station looks almost as big as ours. How does something like this just go completely dark? Word from the upper levels. Early assessment points to a lab leak. A lab leak? The 3 major stations take completely different approaches to the tower. Kaz gives you a quick breakdown. Celestia plays it steady. Develop technology first. Build strength. Make a move when the time is right. Paradise is aggressive. Some people over there are calling for a super weapon to blow up the entire planet and take the tower down with it. You hear that and raise an eyebrow. That leaves no way out at all. Just stay out in deep space forever? Surprisingly, there's quite a bit of support for it. All from people who spent long stretches inside the tower. Kaz snaps back on topic. Europa's approach is neither aggressive nor cautious. They launched something called the Ascension Project, uploading every person's consciousness to a server, powered by solar energy, achieving true immortality. No more fearing the tower. You immediately connect the dots. So to push this project forward, they've been pouring everything into biotech, building lab after lab. And this incident, that's what leaked. Right, Kaz confirms. My guess is the upper levels keep sending people over there to grab their technology. And why I'm pushing you to go is so you can get to it first. The Severance sent someone before. Didn't last long before they failed. Now it's all on you. His voice drops off. You're already in your full pressure suit, stepping carefully onto Europa Station's docking platform. The platform entrance is along long narrow corridor, and the dark inside is so absolute you can't see your hand in front of your face, like a bottomless abyss. You raise your hand and switch on the headlamp. The beam sweeps across the far end of the corridor. Several lifeless bodies are lying there in plain sight. Your spine goes rigid instantly. You press your earpiece and speak low. We have a situation. There are remains ahead, covered in some kind of white substance. Don't worry. Kaz's voice comes right back. That's macrophage buildup. Remains left in space long enough will almost always develop it. Just ignore it. You push down the discomfort and keep moving deeper into the dark. You've gone barely 100 steps when a shout in a foreign language erupts from the darkness. You instantly cut the headlamp and switch the earpiece to translation mode. A few seconds later, Kaz translates in real time. He says he heard your footsteps, says to stop hiding and come over. Your brow knots immediately. He's lying. I was walking quietly the whole time. There's no way he heard me. Then don't rush in. Get a little closer and use the headlamp to get a look at what's there. You inch toward the source of the voice. The moment you get close, a terrifying force detonates inside your mind. You're knocked off your feet right there, skull ringing, the buzz filling your head. What's happening? What did you run into? Kaz's voice spikes with alarm. You steady yourself, expression stone cold serious. I just took a psychic hit. No current technology can do that. Unheard of. Kaz is absolute. Science hasn't even confirmed that consciousness exists outside the body. How could anyone build something like this? Interesting. You call into the dark in rough, halting foreign words. Friend, if we're on the same side, why all the hiding? The other voice catches your accent and switches to your language immediately. You're from Celestia. You come straight out with it, voice carrying full weight. If I'm reading this right, you're a cultivator. A cultivator? The voice pauses, then comes back charged with barely contained curiosity. You're not actually one of those cultivators from old Celestian novels, are you? You don't answer. You stand perfectly still and press forward. Were you the one who took out all the people who came to support Europa? Only a few of them. The voice is even. You've seen the scene on the ground. Most of them went deeper and fell on their own. Then why did you attack at all? Are you even human? Instead of answering directly, the other voice offers a proposal. Your ship has a drone. Since you're this cautious about me, just fly the drone over and take a look. That's reasonable. You head back to the ship, retrieve the drone, and pilot it slowly toward the source of the voice. Ahead, light suddenly comes on. On the drone's screen, a room full of intricate diagrams and precision structures appears. A laboratory. You call out toward it. There's still power on the station. Backup power. Not much left. The voice carries back steady. That's the only thing that's kept me going until now. The words barely land when the lab door opens on its own. You pilot the drone inside and immediately see it. In the center of the room, inside a glass containment vessel, a complete human brain. The vessel is connected to cameras, microphones, and a speaker. The voice that's been talking to you, it's all coming from right here. The speaker goes off again. Well, can you relax now? I'm just a preserved brain. Beyond launching psychic disruptions at people, I have no other way to threaten you. You're not fully convinced. You stay where you are and keep pressing. Why did you block those people? And why did you come at me just now? The core answers plainly. Blocking them. That was because they were moving in my direction. I didn't want to be found, so I acted. As for you, it shifts tone. I came at you only because you're an unmodified body. My psychic strength is powerful. Powerful enough to guide someone like you. Hitting you was meant to suppress your consciousness and make you carry me out. Except your psychic resistance is far beyond normal. I failed and exposed my position. You raise an eyebrow. Why does it have to be an unmodified person? Won't augmented personnel work? You don't know? The core sounds almost surprised. To prevent augmented personnel from going rogue, nearly all of them have control chips installed in their systems. With a control chip in place, I have no way to influence them at all. That clears things up for you. The more you think about it, the more it makes sense. You push further. If you're this desperate to get out, why not just reset? You can be revived either way, can't you? The core makes it sound like a quiet, bitter laugh. Revival only works for humans, and I'm not human. If I cease to exist, there's nothing left. You stare at the setup on the drone screen. You're literally a vessel for human thought. How are you not human? But what if from the moment I came into being, only this core existed? The core replies, I have no complete body, no name, no past. I've never once experienced what it means to be a real person. For something like me, the revival system simply doesn't recognize it. You get it immediately. This is an artificially created core vessel. You let out a small laugh, a hint of amusement in your voice. You've told me everything about yourself. Aren't you afraid I'll just end you right here? First, I don't fear ending. The core's voice is steady. Second, the moment I encountered you, I analyzed your tone and manner and had you completely read. Telling you everything is the approach with the highest odds of keeping me alive. To put it plainly, it adds at the end. You respond to reason, not force. You raise an eyebrow slightly. Interesting. The core continues. Cooperation always comes down to shared need. A good impression alone isn't enough. Let me briefly explain my value. I'm a byproduct of Europa's top-level research, essentially a super processing hub. Any problem you bring me, I calculate the optimal solution in moments. Take me with you, and you're bringing the sharpest think tank imaginable. You don't budge. You ask carefully. How do I know you won't be working an angle while you help me? Simple. The core answers directly. Find me a body. Make me a real person. After that, I join your side. We share a real bond, and that becomes the foundation of mutual trust. That actually makes sense. You commit without hesitation. Straightforward and final. Deal. I'll take you, and I'll help you find a human body. With the core guiding you, you detach the entire glass containment vessel in a few swift moves and hold it firmly against your chest. In the earpiece, Kaz immediately speaks up. Why not just head back now? With what you've got, this trip has already paid off. Not yet. You ignore him and look down at the core in your arms. Do you know the station's layout? Can we keep going deeper? We can, the core says without hesitation. Though based on my projections, going further gives us roughly a 6% chance of dying. That number means nothing to you. You can reset, but if I go out, that's the end of everything for me. So my suggestion is, if you really want to keep exploring, put me back on the ship first, then go alone. A 6% failure rate. You scan the lab around you, spot a scrap metal plate in the corner, and pick it up. Right in front of the core, spiritual energy surges to your fingertips. With nothing but raw force, you fold the solid iron plate, twist it out of shape, and compress it into a dense lump of metal. The core, which has been perfectly calm this whole time, lets through a shock it can't suppress. Are you really a cultivator? Or do you have some kind of superpower? You give a mysterious smile and don't answer. So what's our failure rate now? The core settles down immediately. It recalculates and speaks. Accounting for your abilities, failure rate is somewhere between 1 and 2%. At odds that low. Not just you, even I can accept that. Of course it adds. For that to hold, you have to follow my guidance without fail. There are zones you absolutely cannot enter. You nod. I'm a reasonable person. Where to next? Straight to the jellyfish lab. The core says, to show you my good faith, I'm going to give you a gift. You raise an eyebrow. What gift? You'll see when you get there. Silence as you move. With the core guiding you, you navigate around several dangerous areas and arrive outside the jellyfish lab in no time. The lab holds a massive glass cube filled entirely with water. A spine jellyfish drifts slowly through it. You're caught off guard. I thought spine jellyfish could phase. How is it trapped in there? The core core explains. Europa's latest discovery, a spine jellyfish's phasing ability doesn't work in water. Enough water and it's completely contained. That easy to handle? You immediately reach out to Kaz. Celestia's upper levels never figured this out, not even close. Kaz replies. Celestia's leadership has always played it safe. They'd rather put their resources into conventional development. Europa has always been chasing unknown tech. That they found this doesn't surprise me at all. You look down at the core in your arms. So the gift isn't the spine jellyfish itself, is it? Of course not. The core directs you. Find the power port in the lab. I'll get the backup power running first. You set the core down on a smooth metal surface. The next second, every light in the lab blazes on. In that light, you spot a set of geometric patterns inside the cube, the same ones used for revival. This is an automated revival device designed for humans. It clicks for you instantly. This device is for, the core cuts in. It's specifically for studying spine jellyfish. Let me show you. It activates the device. A synthesized voice rings out, announcing the identity of an overseas individual. A few seconds later, a man materializes out of nowhere inside the water-filled cube. The just revived man panics immediately, slamming against the glass walls, all of it useless. The spine jellyfish absorbs him completely in seconds. You watch from outside the cube, and your eye twitches. The core speaks. Under normal circumstances, a spine jellyfish would phase out and vanish after absorbing someone, but right now it has nowhere to go. It activates the device again and revives another individual. Same result. This person struggles in the water and ultimately becomes fuel for the jellyfish. Again and again. Within just a few minutes, the spine jellyfish swells to bursting, visibly approaching its limit, but the core shows no sign of stopping. It keeps reviving targets. Finally, a muffled boom, and the jellyfish tears itself apart completely. The moment it bursts, murky liquid floods the entire glass cube. You stare at the liquid inside and ask the core in a low voice, "Is this the spine jellyfish's toxin?" Yes. The core confirms right away, just like how metabolism produces byproducts. The jellyfish absorbed that much energy, so naturally it secreted a large amount of its own substance. The words barely finish when a semi-transparent arm extends from the lab wall, pierces the glass cube precisely, draws out every drop of liquid, and deposits it steadily in front of you. This is the gift I promised. The core's voice buzzes with excitement. This liquid carries the spine jellyfish's unique signature. Once it acts on your body, you'll be able to resonate with the spine jellyfish, even influence the entire species. But an ordinary body can't handle what this change brings, because the pain is extreme. The core pauses. Your body will be destroyed and rebuilt over and over. The intensity of that goes beyond anything the tower puts you through. In the tower, the worst that happens is you die and come back clean. But in this process, without an iron will, you simply cannot endure it. But you're different. It adds immediately. You took my psychic shock and came out completely unharmed. Your psychic resistance is beyond normal, and your physical strength is extraordinary. You can handle this. Being able to influence the entire spine jellyfish species doubles your capabilities overnight. You're genuinely tempted, but you never act without caution. You stare at the vial. Does this have side effects? I don't know. The core answers honestly, because nobody has ever reached the final stage. You go speechless. Nobody has made it, and you're still telling me to try. What if something goes wrong for me and you get stuck here too? The core explains quickly. Nobody succeeded not because the odds are low. It's that spine jellyfish are nearly impossible to find. Every trial requires enormous cost to set up. Alright, you've said everything there is to say. Still, you leave yourself a safety net. With one small motion of your fingers, you draw out a thread of spiritual energy and channel it into the core's containment vessel. The core freezes in shock. I've added a trace of spiritual energy inside. It benefits you. No harm at all. You can absorb it. But you shift tone, and the authority in your voice leaves no room for argument. If I'm gone, no one maintains that spiritual energy for you, and you won't survive. Got it. The core catches on instantly. Voice wry. You still don't fully trust me. True, you answer plainly. We just met. Seeing that it doesn't push back, you pick up the vial. When does this start? Anytime. Just absorb it. No more words. You raise your hand and draw the entire vial into your body. Less than a minute later, a burning, raging shock sweeps through every inch of you. Without a moment of hesitation, you shut down all 5 senses on the spot, cutting off every bit of discomfort. The core watches you stay completely expressionless the entire time, and goes silent in shock. You blocked out the pain with some kind of technique. You glance at it, and give a faint nod. It erupts with excitement immediately. Yes, incredible. You can't feel the pain. The success rate just jumped from 30% to 40. Your eyebrow goes up. Only 40%? You were willing to let me try at those odds? I don't fear ending. The core's voice is pure obsession with the unknown. To witness a breakthrough like this in person, even if it ends me, it's worth it. You look at it like this, and for no clear reason you think of Nox, both of them the kind of obsessed idealists who throw everything away for the pursuit of truth. Time ticks slowly by. Under the combined effect of the jellyfish extract and your spiritual energy, your body begins to slowly turn translucent. Your eyes snap open. You're stunned. I thought it was only supposed to change the biosignal. Why is my body turning translucent? I don't know. The core's voice is practically trembling with excitement. You're not like ordinary people. Your spiritual energy and the extract must have triggered an unexpected reaction. You immediately sit cross-legged, dropping into the inner vision state. Sure enough, the spiritual energy inside you is stimulating every part of your body in a completely unusual way. You called it right. It really is the spiritual energy doing this. The core shouts in amazement. You're becoming more and more translucent. Are you okay? You don't answer. You rise slowly, extend your right arm, and reach it straight toward the lab wall. The next second, under the core's stunned gaze, your arm passes right through solid wall. This is phasing. You've actually gained phasing ability. The core's voice is overwhelmed with awe. You pull your arm back and focus inward on the shift in your body. Phasing drains spiritual energy to maintain. It can't last long. Save it for when it counts. Still enough for a day. The core settles down immediately and warns you right away. Remember, unless absolutely necessary, never phase your entire body at once. On a space station, you drift straight out into open space. On Earth, you'd fall toward the planet's core. You give it a solemn nod. Thanks for the warning. Gaining this ability today, I owe you one for it. Don't mention it. The core cuts in immediately. Don't forget what you promised. Help me find a human body. That's a given. After a benefit this significant, you find yourself trusting it a little more. So, do we go back now or go deeper? Further in is Europa's core, the Ascension Zone. I have no data on what's inside. Let's go back. You're always cautious. You're already turning to leave when Kaz's voice suddenly comes through the earpiece. Evan, you still there? You frown slightly. Still here. Where did you go? Sorry about that. We just received an important tip and had to verify it. Kaz's voice turns serious. I just found out what caused the anomaly at Europa Station. It's because something went wrong in the Ascension Zone. The core speaks up beside you right away. The Ascension Zone is the core area, dedicated to developing the most advanced consciousness transfer technology. Exactly. Kaz picks it up immediately. Word is, Europa's Ascension project actually succeeded. Nearly half their people completed the transfer. That's why both Celestia and Paradise have been sending people over. Everyone wants this technology. His voice carries a powerful vision. Evan, with this, humanity wouldn't need to rely on revival anymore. No more fear of the tower. You don't rush to respond. You look down at the core. It analyzes immediately. Before I would have said absolutely not, but now you have phasing. That's your guarantee. If you hit something you can't handle, phase straight through the outer wall, trigger the ship's autopilot to come get you. In theory, you have almost nothing to worry about now. That gives you all the confidence you need. You ask right away, which direction is the core zone? Do you know? Past this lab, 3 corridors ahead, at the fork, take the first tunnel. That's it. Alright, we move. Your voice drops and you're already gliding silently in the direction the core indicated. In the narrow dark corridor, your perception, far beyond any normal person's, picks up the distant sound of equipment being forced open. Someone's ahead. You immediately go quieter, easing toward the source of the sound. 3 minutes later, the forced entry noise stops. In its place, the sound of gas being released. The core lowers its voice. If I had to guess, they're using a cryo breach, supercooling the metal to weaken it and force the door. The words are barely finished when you feel a wave of cold air rolling toward you. Then, the crack of metal giving way. Someone calls out in a foreign language, excited. Finally got it open. Eddie, is the drone ready? Relax. The boss already sent it in. Confirmed. That's the ascension zone ahead. No living people inside, but there are a lot of brains. The one called boss pauses, then warns immediately. Move the drone carefully. Whatever you do, don't touch any of them. Footsteps. The whole squad moves into the ascension zone. You hold your breath, listening. A few seconds later, you speak. 6 total. The core is instantly stunned. You can determine that just from listening. You give a quiet laugh. When it comes to calculations and knowledge, I can't match you. But when it comes to stealth and tracking, you're not even close to my level. With that, you slip in soundlessly behind them and move into the ascension zone. In the center, a hall sits a pool stretching over 30 meters across, connected to a dense web of cables. And all those cables converge at the ceiling, where a brain hangs suspended, enlarged hundreds of times over. Massive and strange. What is this? The squad leader can't help but breathe it out, voice full of pure awe. And just then, the hall speakers come on. The massive brain is aware of itself. It speaks first in a foreign language, then, everyone, welcome to True Paradise. Immediately after, it repeats itself in your language. It knows you're here. Allow me to introduce myself. The massive voice fills the space again. I am the final product of Europa's Ascension Project, the collective of human consciousness. You may call me the collective. The squad's tech specialist goes rigid with shock. How is that possible? The final product was supposed to be a data network. How is it a physical core? Because with current technology, full digitization is completely out of reach. The collective answers in an even tone. True mechanical ascension. That's at least 5,000 years away. And we couldn't wait that long. A quiet, chilling laugh. Then it drops something staggering. A truth you don't yet know. Whether it's the leadership of Paradise Station or the leadership of Celestia, the one hidden in the shadows right now. Ever since the tower appeared, not one of them has died. What? Every member of the 6-person squad freezes where they stand, disbelief written across all their faces. Even Kaz, back on Celestia, lets out a sharp sound of shock through the earpiece. Of course it's true. The collective ignores everyone's reaction and continues. Not dying yet doesn't mean they never will. More than 4,000 years, every station's leadership has pushed to the very edge of human life expectancy. We face our final end. And then its voice cracks with something unhinged, something desperate, and we are more afraid of dying than anyone.